Three, two, one. Hello everybody, this is another speed draw with Snickerdoodle. Today we are going to be drawing Phineas, as you can see, but in a 3D looking sort of way. If you want to know how I choose the colors or how I draw in general, you can check out our other speed draws. Here I'm just going to be showing you a different way of drawing this 3D sort of look, since I already did a sort of 3D looking thing. Let's get started. So as you can see, first I am making sure that I choose the right color, the base color, as shown before. And something interesting that I learned while drawing this, which will be shown later, is that so previously I was saying if you want to do darker colors, make the color more towards blue, and if you want to do lighter colors, make it more towards the yellow. I have realized that it actually looks a lot nicer if you want if you want them to be like outside and the sky is blue, then the lighting on the top of them should be blue, and it'll make it look a lot nicer, in my opinion at least. So yeah, I'm just getting all the stuff. And yes, Phineas looks pretty creepy in a 3D environment, but it's not as bad as it sounds, probably. And how I get these very smooth lines is I raise the smoothing on my eraser tool and my brush tool, which can be seen on the top bar. Working on the ear. I don't like drawing ears because I have to make it on a separate layer, and then I have to shade it, and then I have to make sure that it blends in well with the head. So that's a little bit of a pain, but it's fine. So yeah, I'm just coloring everything in. The eyebrows and the hair. The hair I don't really need smoothing, or I don't really need to pay attention to making it all detailed. You'll see later, but basically we're going to make it all fuzzy, so it doesn't matter about the line work because you're going to mess it up anyways and later on. Yeah, just perfecting everything, and then I'm making sure that each little different thing is on a different layer. Sometimes, for example, the eye in the back is on the same layer as the teeth. It's not really good, but I feel like doing it because I don't like having a whole bunch of layers. And so here's the shading. So at first I did the yellow, but afterwards I changed it to a more blue so that it looks nicer. And yeah, you might be thinking oh my gosh, what did you do? This is too dark for Phineas' skin, but it'll look good later. You'll see, probably. I mean, it's your opinion. I can't tell you what to do. So yeah, here's the ear. I have to make sure that it's the same color as the rest of him, because otherwise it doesn't look right. And yeah, sometimes I put the shading on a different layer so that it's easier, and then I merge the layers together later once I feel like the ear is done. For 2D characters like Phineas, or just characters in general, I like to make a lot of sharp edges. I feel like it makes it look nicer. And then so yeah, after I get everything, I just erase it so that it matches, it blends in with the head. And I have to make sure that I don't erase it too far, because otherwise you will see beyond the head and it'll show a bit of the background as well, if that makes sense. And yeah, here are the eyes. So yeah, once you add this kind of dark shading to everything else, you will notice that the head starts looking less too dark and more regular enough dark. It turns from too dark to enough dark. Yeah, I just adjusted the eyes a bit because I felt like they looked too not round enough. Working on the teeth. we're like not halfway, we're like a third of the way through the process. But yeah, so like I'm just adding shading to everything. For the eyes, I learned that like you have to make the bottom part darker, the bottom part of the pupil, the bottom part of the pupil darker usually. No, bottom part of the pupil lighter and the top part of the pupil darker. Sorry. But yeah, so that way it looks nice. And I added the reflection in the eyes, of course. And for here, I added a bit of transparency because some of the light will make it through the skin. That sounds weird. But yeah, so like some of the light will pass through to give it a sort of translucency. Translucency, is that a word? It's probably a word. But yeah. And then I'm working on the clothes shading. Shading is pretty fun. I like the shading part of this. It's fun. It's fun to do, in my opinion. I had to make sure it looked right because I can't make it light on the top there because otherwise Phineas's like neck needs to cast a shadow on the shirt. So yeah, here's where I decided, hey, maybe I should make it a little bit blue. So yeah, see, that looks better, right? I mean, in my opinion it does. I don't know about you, but I think that looks better than if I just made it more yellow. If you make it more blue, you can kind of, I don't know, it adds a bit more realism to it, in my opinion. In my opinion. Yeah. And for the shadows, I also just make it more like blue. And if I make the top lighting more blue, then I wanted to make like the bottom lighting, the lighting that bounces back, yellow to contrast the blue on the top. I just thought that would make it look nice. You will see that in action right here, I believe. Nope. I'm casting a shadow for the eye. Yeah, kind of makes him look like he's like has like really heavy, like he has really heavy eye bags, or that he's wearing like eyeshadow or something. Yeah, just working on it. And then here's where I put the lighting. Yeah, lighting. Extra lighting time. Yeah, and then adding it to the eyes and everything. Adding it to the hair. And then I think that's the end of the shading part. I'll like tweak it a little more later. But yeah, and then here's the hair texturing part. I used the smudge tool, and I made sure that, you know, it makes it look more like hair. And then so, yeah, I just made it look more like hair. And then I continue on making sure that all the hair kind of sticks out from his head and making sure that they all come from the same place. I removed the background because there was one time when I used the blur tool and it like merged the portions that I colored on with the background, so that was frustrating. But the smudge tool doesn't do that. I think the problem that I had was that I selected for it to affect all the layers when I wanted it to just affect one layer, so that might have been the problem. And so I'm adding like the tiny little extra strands of hair. I'm not sure if you can see it in the video, but because the resolutions might be a little poorer. But yeah, I'm just adding like little extra strands of hair, and I'm making sure that it connects more to the head, because I felt like it was like unnatural for it to just be a straight line. So yeah, I used the smudge tool a little more too. And then I just continue to work on the hair part, because the hair is really pretty fun. Yeah, I used a little bit of that like hair brush, as you can see. It helps with if you want to just get it quick. I used it a lot for the eyebrows. I used it a bit for the hair. And then so here I'm making sure that the eye kind of like fits into the head well. Make it look nice. yeah, I added a bit of lighting to the bottom of the ear. And then I work on, yeah, see, I added the blur tool because I was like, I forgot, and I was like, hey, why don't I add the blur tool now? And then I removed the background, and I was like, oh, that's why. That was, yeah, see, you saw that. So that's what happens. And then, so yeah, I decided to add it with the transparency, and then I decided, nope, it doesn't look good. There was a lot of like back and forth, testing it here and there, making sure that everything looks good. So I used the smudge tool instead, because the smudge, if you like turn down the strength of the smudge, it'll basically be a blur tool. And then I added the dots. And then I added the tiny little hairs on his shirt because I felt like it needed that to make it look more fuzzy, to make it look more real. You can't really tell, but you know what? It's fine. I also added a bit of that hair to his face because that's what human skin has. It has tiny hairs. I know that sounds gross, but it's reality. And it also makes him look more real, so. And so I added a bit of white hair to him because it makes it look more real, because I felt like his orange hair was looking a bit artificial, which it does, but I mean, like, just add a bit more. And then for the pupils, I just added a bit of those like little patterns that you have in pupils. And we're almost done. Now is the background. I wanted it to be blue to match the lighting on top of him. I was going to add yellow light around him for the bouncing back light, but it doesn't look good. I even tried making it blend more with a bit of pink, because pink and yellow blend nice and pink and blue blend nice. It's like the bridge between them that makes it look nice, not green, okay? At least not in this situation. But yeah. And then so adding a bit of more touches, I added the blur effect, and then I made the bottom a little darker, and this time on a layer above Phineas so that it kind of covers his shirt a little bit, because I felt like that looked nice. And yeah, adding a bit more like translucency to the hair, because hair can be a little translucent at times. I added a bit more to the hair because I thought it needed a little bit more work. You can always go back and work sometimes, add small details that you can change. And then adding my signature so that nobody claims this drawing. And yeah, that's my drawing of Phineas. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for watching me draw realistic-ish looking Phineas. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.